What's up, tribe? Thank you for being here and welcome to my channel. Today's post is titled Touch, and as it is a dialogue between Matias and his higher self, I'll be referring to Matias as me and to his higher self as I am. Me. If all that exists outside of me is a sensation of my outer world, then is touch the way of feeling my heartbeat pulsing in all existence. I am. Tick, tock. The great gear of time that designs space is the beat of the most beautiful heart in all of existence, the cosmic pulse, the void, as it became aware of itself, was inspired by what it felt, and took momentum, expanding outward, creating a heartbeat that would echo back to the center again and again, creating a heartbeat that would echo back to the center again and again. This echo allowed him to feel everything that happened in his creation, together with everything that exists. His inspiration and his exhalation are the echoes of a cosmic heart that passes through everything like waves to the sea, emerging from the center towards the coasts and returning towards the ocean. The waves carry with them the information of everything they have touched. The universe is like that dreamer who finds himself unable to touch his dreams except in the imagination, spreading his hands in the illusion that he will be able to feel him. And deceiving the mind, he succeeds. He perceives all sensations as if they were real, in a constant pulse and beat, arising from his immeasurable love to feel the finite in the infinite. Touch does not exist like nothing else, but love makes it possible. Me, I eat, I am, in your longing to feel what you see. The universe emits waves, like a sonar. The vibration expands by touching the objects in its path, and when it collides with them, it returns to the wave in the form of an echo, changing its frequency, giving different tones, sensations that return to the center. These waves are not enough to perceive. Then, the constant echoes begin to generate particles of positive and negative energy. The same wave begins to behave as a particle, in an electron, in a photon. Thus, the information is not dispersed in the ocean, but is focused. The light, the energy, begin to carry data, reflecting off objects, bouncing off like a mirror. This effect allows the universal mind to distinguish changes, limits, something that was previously impossible. In this way, it can become aware of the created. It can perceive the manifested world. During millions of years, this system was being perfected until the particles began to group together in biological organisms, which allowed the universal mind to have greater flexibility when receiving data. Since minerals or inorganic materials do not have the ability to perceive in the same way, nor to be energetically intelligent, this is how cells appeared, and they replicated the system of the universe. They received the energetic data that the photons carry, and they processed them inside as information, developing from it. The mechanism was perfected. The atoms that make up cells interact magnetically with the atoms that make up the environment, and in said magnetism, They share energy, generate heat or cold, interact. The electrical pulses generated by the magnetic traction of electrons generate a reaction in the nervous system, which decodes this information into ideas, cognition, thought, sensation, emotions. Me, all by pulses between things that I've never touched. I am, exactly. You have never touched anything. Absolutely nothing. Ever. It is impossible. The only thing you have done is to perceive the sensation of the magnetic friction between electrons that repel each other, which generates an electrical discharge that is perceived by the nerve cells and administered by the neurons of your brain. Me, knowing this is something frivolous, even lonely. I don't know. I am. It is from the point of view of a being who believed he touched things, but it is something magnificent and full for an infinite being who could never feel anything. The system allows the mind to be able to perceive, to manifest, to feel alive. Touch is the direct sense of the divine heart. In living bodies, it spreads throughout the skin, the entire integumentary system. Integument comes from the Latin tegere, which means to cover, to protect. We can interpret that the skin is the most extensive organ of the body, designed to protect us from the outside world. But from the deepest vision, the skin not only protects us, communicates, allows us to interact, have the sensitivity to perceive, to share. Everything that happens inside and outside of our body goes through the communication of the skin cells, making the atoms vibrate, transmitting the information of magnetism between electrons. Thus, all the data interacts in this layer of your body, being recorded as in a kind of library. Me, they build my memory then. I am, they are your memory. Cellular memory lies in the sense of touch, in all interactions. The pulse of your heart extends to the pulse of each vein and artery that caresses your integumentary. Integumentary. This is the first time I hear this word, so I'm trying to pronounce it. Okay, that caresses your integumentary system, and therefore your skin cells beat in unison with the heart, informing the center of your being about everything that happens, telling it the stories and receiving their own stories. Each cell is like a book in this library. Each book has a new phrase, a new code and information, rewritten by each cell, which, perceiving the outside world, writes it down in itself to have a memory of what happened, happens, and will happen. The memory of the cells interact with the external and the internal, and the pulse of your heart generates an echo in everything you touch, awakening the data by magnetism. This is how memory is activated. Me, wait a minute. I don't know if I got it right. You say that the magnetic pulse of external objects or subjects in friction with our own atoms, driven by the heart, driven by the heartbeat, awakens the data that my cells registered and shared with said objects and subjects. I am, exactly. Touch. Touch others. Touch oneself. Touch nature. A stone. A temple. A book. All of this awakens shared memories. As I said at the beginning, everything is an echo of the one heart, echoing the beats like a sonar. In your body lies the memory of all the things that your cells have recorded since the beginning of their time, millions of years ago. If you return to an ancient temple and touch its walls and pay attention to the beat of your heart, the reaction of the electrons in the rock with the electrons that make up your skin will launch electrical pulses that will awaken the appropriate emotional information hidden in any of your cells. Like a kind of index to a book. Me, that is why you once explained to me that beyond the fact that we can meditate and be everywhere at the same time, because everything is mind, it is important to travel, walk, touch, feel with the senses, caress places, because memory is not there in the mind, but in the cells. I am. Good memories and bad memories. Traumas are there too. Therefore, the skin is the first to react to a conflict, drying out, or being more greasy, or sweating, or piloerectating, bristling with dermal hair. The reaction of touch to an abuse, a blow, a caress, abuse, tickling, rape, sensuality, aggressiveness. Whether all this is direct, you have experienced it on your own skin, or indirectly, it is something inherited by a clan. It will be a reactionary memory in you. Me, I must pay attention to what my skin feels because it tells me about the relationship I have with the world around me. I am skin, dermal, integumentary, I don't know if I'm saying this right. Integumentary problems or diseases speak of how we interact with others and the environment. In most cases, since the repression for too many generations, even for millennia, many individuals have experienced abuse of all kinds, with aggressions, rapes, beatings, criticisms of appearances, fears. They have confused what it is to give affection and have covered their skin for being shamed. Me, even today it happens. We all have these cultural traumas. We are afraid to show the body, to talk about it. We are ashamed. And many cultures continue to cover up or grieve the lustful and sinful connotation of skin and touch. I am. You are still experiencing a time of trauma in every way, and your skin knows it. And yet, you use the expressions to be tactful, to address someone in a situation. Even so, we do not know how to understand this important sense. Physical intelligence, having giving so much importance to mental cognitive intelligence, has discredited emotional and corporal intelligence, relegating it to a plane of chemical reactions, as if thought were not also a chemical reaction. Me, it's true. In a quest to rationalize everything and discredit the emotional and the corporal, science and spirituality have disparaged the soul and the physical to mere organic reactions, when everything is. Even mathematical thought or religious dogma, both are cellular reactions. I am. For this reason, it is important to get to know your own body, talk with it, feel it, not be ashamed of it, of talking about it, or being open to sharing bodies. Touching the objects with ease opens the doors to the memory library. Well, when you place your hands on a wall, you do not listen to the wall, but to the echo of your heart on it, your own pulse resonating in the magnetism of your skin, awakening what you know of that place within you. Thus you read the information of the world by means of the beat of your heart, pulsating in all your skin. It's very poetic and it invites us to feel, to open up, to perceive. But what about all the trauma? I am deep within the skin, all the sensations that have not been of pleasure or comfort are hidden. Everything that has interacted with you in a bad way, the body protects itself, rejecting the sensation. Instead of transforming it, it becomes rigid. The only way to free yourself from these dermatological traumas is by caressing the skin, giving it gentle baths, becoming aware of each part of the body, going to the areas of pain, to the areas where the trauma is located, and face it through touch, but this time with words and intention. For an abused person, a caress can be understood as an aggression, and therefore the skin must be re educated to understand the caress as a pleasant sensation. And this is done through the same person pleasing himself in the skin, smiling, caressing, and talking to their cells, like someone who talks to a scared puppy or baby who does not want to go out because of fear. With time, patience, and delicacy, it is necessary to remind them how beautiful to touch, how fascinating it is to perceive the world, and how wonderful they can get lost through fear. Cellular education. It is not a question of eliminating the trauma, but of re educating the cells so that they react differently. I am, for a rigid skin will not echo in the heart, and an expanded heart needs to feel through the skin. Practicing conscious touch on someone who has experienced a trauma will help them to free themselves to expand. Practicing conscious touch on a body without concrete trauma will help to free those who have lived in history, all the beings belonging to my genealogical tree. Practicing the touch of the world around you will allow a rigid mind to remember, to perceive the soul of the world. The touch helps the cosmic memory that we all share to awaken the memories of other lives and the understanding of reality from the most essential and unconditional. Allow yourself to feel that infinite love in the touch of the finite, for the skin is love made matter.